On the boat to Zevil Island, before the start of the 4th phase of the Hunter exam, Gon sits alone, no doubt pondering about how to get Hisoka's badge. He is, for the 3rd time, approached by Killua. The two sit in silence for a moment before Killua breaks the ice by asking what number Gon drew. At first it seems they don't trust each other by both dodging the question, but their simultaneous laughter after a brief silence breaks the tension and proves the opposite to be true. It also shows how in tune they are with each other. This playful scene actually stuck out to me more in the manga because of all the scenes of them having fun, like the race they had in Phase 1, the hunting of the boars together in Phase 2, and their shenanigans in Trick Tower didn't actually exist in the manga. So they show each other their cards. Killua points out Gon's terrible luck in drawing Hisoka's number, but Gon does not dwell on it too much and asks Killua about the number he drew. Killua starts to ramble a bit about the applicants hiding their badges before noticing that Gon is not paying attention. A normal reaction to this might be to lecture Gon for not listening when someone's talking to him, but Killua is astute enough to know that Gon is shaking as well. When he asks if Gon is scared or excited, I saw this as a bit of a test. Killua knows that Hisoka is stronger than both of them, but also recognizes Gon's ability to find his way out of tough situations. When Gon explains how he feels and his thoughts about how he might stand a chance, we get another one of Killua's admiring smiles. Gon's answer solidifies for Killua that he would be okay since his parting words in the manga as he leaves Gon to focus are, "See you on the other side." This is probably why Killua doesn't have any thoughts about Gon during the whole phase and doesn't try to locate Gon to team up. Likewise, Gon has been consistently impressed by Killua and knows he can take care of himself. We learned later on from Gon's discussion with Kurapika that after Gon's encounter with Hisoka, he felt extremely frustrated and wanted to help his friends to revive his sense of self-worth. It's hard to be 100% certain from the dialogue, but it sounds like Gon specifically sought out Kurapika and Leorio and not Killua. If it is true, then this would further cement the idea that Gon has trust in Killua's abilities. Speaking of the conversation between Kurapika and Gon after this phase, why is it that Killua would notice Gon being distracted on the boat to Zevil Island, but not be concerned, as Kurapika stated, that Gon's been distracted ever since they all met up again? I took this as a sign of how much room their relationship really has to grow. But now we're ready for the grand finale of this arc, the final phase. When the ladder for the tournament is finally revealed, and Netero explains how they were all evaluated, Killua is bothered by the idea that they see more potential in Gon than him. His reaction suggests he lacks an understanding of Gon's endearing personality, and shows the influence his family has had on his own self-esteem, since he's been told that out of all of his siblings, he has the most potential and will take over the family business. Killua seems to carry over this frustration into his assessment of Gon's match. In Trick Tower, he had been admiring Gon's innovation, but now seems much more critical. His concern for Gon's well-being appears to have lessened as well, since his reactions of the fight are much less exaggerated than Leorio and Kurapika's. For a moment I thought it was part of Killua's willingness to leave people behind who can't keep up with him, but he is also critical of Hanzo when Hanzo brags about killing people at Gon's age. So while it appears that Killua is distancing himself emotionally from Gon, I would say this is just Killua being generally frustrated and doesn't reflect a change in their relationship. In fact, his frustration and lack of understanding of how the match ended triggers him to ask Hanzo why he gave up. Hanzo's response to Killua, saying Gon had no hatred or resentment in his eyes for his tormentor, is a crucial moment for Killua learning more about what makes Gon so special, and perhaps gives Killua more self-awareness about why he was so drawn to Gon besides their closeness in age. After all, a normal kid would probably be bothered when finding out about Killua's past. So it's time for Killua to face off against Illumi. Although he is hesitant at first, most likely due to fear, Killua is able to confess to his brother that what he wants most of all is not to be a hunter, but to become friends with Gon and just be a kid. Our first glimpse into just how controlling Killua's family has been comes as the two argue back and forth about the meaning behind Killua's feelings. And it really feels like Killua is arguing with a voice inside of his head because, well, he is. When Leorio's heard enough, he steps in to give Killua a wake-up call. You're already friends with Gon. Unfortunately for Killua, his brother's overwhelming nen and the influence of the needle embedded in his forehead do not allow him to defy his brother even when Gon's life is on the line. So he forfeits, mentally shuts down, kills Botaro, and heads back home after being disqualified. When Satots finishes explaining all of this, Gon storms off to the post-lecture to confront Illumi. In his mind, he knows that Killua is being controlled, and when he accuses Illumi of this, Netero interrupts to let Gon know they were actually in the middle of discussing that. Even though Netero and Satots say Killua killed intentionally, not under any influence, I'm convinced, just like Kurapika and Leorio, that he was being controlled by Illumi. Netero probably understands that Killua was manipulated, but because he is acquaintances with the Zoldyck family, he knows not to meddle in their affairs. It's also not unreasonable to assume he doesn't want to spoil the secret Hunter exam by revealing Illumi's nen. So they all present their cases on who should have failed or how suspicious the whole phase was, but none of that really matters to Gon. Gon doesn't care that Killua failed, because he knows from his conversation with him in Phase 1 that becoming a hunter was not part of Killua's goals. Gon is upset because his friend was forced to kill against his will, and that stems back from the conversation between the two on the blimp before Trick Tower. And when Gon tells everyone their arguments are pointless, Netero uses this as a transition to end the Hunter exam and declare them officially hunters. And before we go any further, it's time to take a look back. The last 3 chapters that I just covered are called Light and Darkness, a truly fitting way to describe Gon and Killua during this arc. Killua has run away from the darkness of his family's business in search of some light to fill his life, while Gon leaves a peaceful life behind to sift through the darkness in search of his father. Aside from their age, the two could not be more different. Gon was raised by his aunt on Whale Island and appears to have had all the freedom in the world to wander unsupervised. Killua was restricted to his family's compound under constant surveillance from a butler or another Zoldyck, unless he was on a job, in which case he still might have been under their watchful eye. Because of their upbringings, their personalities widely differ. Killua is cocky and oftentimes bossy, taking a skillful approach to tackling obstacles with his raw abilities, while Gon is more open-minded and uses his instincts as a guide, coupled with strategy when necessary. So what is it that drew these two together and made them so close by the end of this arc? I've mentioned several points already, but even I've gained more perspective during the production of this series, and what I believe is this: both Gon and Killua are unconsciously filling a void for each other. The absence of Gon's father in his life is his driving force throughout the series. When he finds out from Kite that his father is not dead and is in fact a great hunter, he makes it his mission to become a hunter to find out why his father would choose to leave his family behind, and to meet the man Kite spoke so highly of. During Gon's initial interactions with Killua, he's immediately impressed by Killua's skill on his skateboard and later curious when hearing Killua's motive for taking the exam. Clearly, Gon is beginning to notice Killua's strength, which could be why he felt safe leaving Killua during Swindler Swamp to help Leorio and Kurapika instead, but more importantly, this is the kind of strength he suspects his father could possess. When the two spend more time to get to know each other on the blimp in Trick Tower, Gon finds out that Killua left his obligations to his family because he wants to carve his own path in life. This is exactly what Gon's father did. So when you combine the fact that Killua's experience and skills impress Gon throughout the exam with the fact that Killua's ambition was similar to that of his father's, it's no wonder by the end of the arc why Gon is so enraged that Killua's family is trying to control him instead of allowing him to live his own life. To Gon, Killua is the 12-year-old version of the father he never met. When Killua first noticed Gon was the same age as him, he immediately saw him as a potential friend. Ever since Alluka was sealed away from him, there's been a piece of his mind he just couldn't tap into. I've consistently used the word leader to describe Killua's relationship with Gon, but perhaps older brother might be more appropriate. He attempts to assist Gon and teach him things throughout the exam and checks up on him to make sure he's managing when things get tough. Similar to his relationship with Alluka, Killua sees Gon as someone needing protection. The smile he cracks when Gon impresses him is like that of a proud older sibling. And by the end of the arc, when Killua exclaims to Illumi how he just wants to be a kid and have fun with Gon, I can't help thinking of the scene of Killua and Alluka playing in their sandbox when they were little. In fact, he may even see a bit of himself in Gon, or at least the person he wishes he could be, which is a point I'll argue further when covering the Zoldyck Family arc, but I'll save that for part 4. Now, I realize my conclusion may seem like a bit of a stretch to some, but just remember that at the very end of the election arc, when Killua has safely extracted Alluka from his family's grasp and Gon is ready to meet his father atop the World Tree, the two finally separate after a long journey by each other's side. And so that's going to wrap up part 3 of Shinyuu. I hope you all enjoyed it so far. Now that I've laid some groundwork for the beginnings of this friendship, I'm going to pick up the pace and avoid dissecting each individual interaction between the two and cover some more broad themes of their relationship during each arc. So I hope you stick around for that and subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you all very soon.